public comments.
These people want me dead. I need to leave now.
Fire and sun. Leeches do not fear the sun or fire. They do not burst in flames or ashes when they are caught under the rays of daylight. Good, really good. I personally trained a vampire to a tree to see what would happen. When the sun rises, it skinned black for a few minutes, as if it was burning from inside. Its eyes flesh melted. I saw unholy bone move, squeal, and the beast tried to escape all day long. In the end, only desolate corpses remained, which started slowly to withdraw when the sun disappeared, burning the horizon. The carrot said, "Oh, finally destroyed it." When I tried to do some test to fire the blood, leeches never came back. From the ashes, fire is our weapon of choice. Whereas to burn the beast is the best way to kill it for good. From knowing your enemies, Carl Erif, Pringwood leader. Carl Leader. Okay. So now you know their weakness.
Here's the leech. Here!
I'll be there.
My head's spinning.
Oi! Come out, you coward! Clever fucking beasts.
It's locked. I cannot enter.
Wait, what's that? Offhand weapon use pressure and sheltered key. Wow.
I'm still in Southwark. I must reach the West End.
There's one of them.
Go back.
Vermin!
There's a strength I never knew I had. This shouldn't be possible.
Piece of shit!
Every sinew, every fiber of my being is afire. I feel like a child learning the limits of my body.
Oh, you bloody leeches!
My strength, my reflexes. I'm not human anymore.
Basically, you're just learning your powers. You've got all your powers. I wanted to get everything right at the start. So you find out you can jump and you can sort of teleport something, shadow run, whatever you would call it. The king country needs you. Join the British ranks to help the brave lads in front.
My poor sister. If only I had controlled my need for blood. Mary, someone will pay for what happened to you. For what happened to us. It's locked. I cannot enter. The dizziness from the jump. I can now
Control it.
control it. It's locked. I can't believe I'm doing this. What will London have to say to me? I cannot enter. I've so many questions unanswered. Another corpse. Have the very streets of London become a mausoleum? The man has been drained of all blood. I can still smell the scent of it. I follow the scent's trail. Perhaps it will lead me to my assailant. Fresh blood. The smell is so strong. Something dire must have come about. Where has everyone gone? According to the blood patterns, that's where the victim was attacked. So that must be the killer's trail.
tease again. What's that? All upgraded.
That's strange. The trail is very erratic, as if the killer was drunk or hesitant.
Right, let's go over our bed there, pass the time, and then we can sort things out from there. Get something to eat, starving. because if we're looking away in months, I hate myself, I can't kill when I suddenly I hate myself. I hate myself. Some discovered hints of real secrets about sounds really. Got a few secrets. You can look for these things. So these secret things reveal details of stuff you can find or loot, where you have to do stuff. All we need to do is look for the right place.
It's locked.
Makes sense. Let's look. Fire.
It's locked, all right. It's locked.
So this is the highest you can go up 50 max. So we've got all the abilities, so we got like kind of claws, we got all these types of all 4 different characters we could have different, but in different ways. Let's just look. Hold on. Right. A resistant hunter. Is that resistant?
I cannot enter. It's locked.
Of course it is. Oh. Right, distant states, Limhouse, this is where we go and find this killer. Possibly it could be the killer that we're looking for. Or something else. We gotta just keep looking just to see if there's anything. Trigger of interest, coins, you know. Something will pop up. Somehow. Couple of screws, couple of this. Just gotta look. Body.
There is no one in sight.
Curses. Blood.
This is a slaughterhouse. It's locked.
A key, probably from a civilian or something like that. Maybe. I can find like a bunch of stuff around here, so it's better than nothing. As, you know,
It's locked, all right.
doors are locked.
I have
What
this
increase?
thirst for blood.
Yeah, well, yeah. Did we? Yeah, we did check this way. Yeah, we went this way, checked a bunch of stuff here. So yeah, once we've checked here, we just...
Are they stupid?
At last, a little life.
Welcome, sir, to the Turquoise Turtle.
I cannot enter.
So we just talked to the bar.
My God, sir, you look like Jonah's whale just spat you out of hell. Can I get you a drink?
No, thank you. I'm not thirsty.
Well, grab a chair and get some rest. This is going to be another long night.
Where am I? Where is this place?
You're at my bar, sir, the Turquoise Turtle. The last ray of light in this dangerous part of town.
Aren't you scared?
Scared of what? All the bad shit happens out on the foggy streets. And I never go outside.
So you're open all night?
Yep. Figured people might need a place to rest in these dark times.
Why is it going to be a long night?
You must be new around here. Don't you know about the murders?
Tell me more about these murders.
Every morning for the last few weeks, bodies have been found. And those poor sods didn't die of flu.
Okay, so we got a murder that's taking place. And it's not by the flu, so that's interesting to know. At least we know.
Do the
how
police have any
dangerous it is.
leads on a suspect?
Even before the outbreak, coppers never came round here. We're on our own. People die in these parts all the time, and no one cares.
I'm looking for someone who might have passed through here recently. Wondered if you might help.
It's been quiet tonight. The only other person I've seen went straight up to his room. Thought it was kind of rude, actually.
You mean he's still here?
Well, yeah. He paid for the entire week.
Who is this man? What does he look like?
Well, like a gentleman, I guess. Well-dressed, quite polite. A professor or something fancy like that. Always writing, reading notes.
Also guys, it's Project Scorpion1. Thanks for coming in this game called Vampire. If you want to subscribe, please do like that channel. Also, let's get to 300 subscribers. You can get me on Twitch, you can get me on Discord if you got it. Any of these, comment on the channel, man, and any questions about the game or just want to sit and relax, feel free. I'm happy to answer your questions or anything like that.
How long has he been here?
He rented the room a few days ago and didn't say when he'd leave.
I need to meet this man. I have questions.
Just climb the stairs and knock on the first door. I heard him open his window, so I guess he's still awake. And,
Yes?
no funny business, you hear me? This is a respectable establishment.
Are they stupid or something? I've never even been to India.
Damn it. I think drink no longer stirs me.
Interesting how I can go in the back of the... Let's see what drinks they got.
He didn't deserve this.
Shame you can't have a drink in that. That's the one thing I think they should have put incorporated this, where at least you could get a drink or something.
There's gotta be something can be done to get out of this bullshit mess. No?
Alright. Let's just talk to these guys.
Good evening, sir.
Let's get out of
I
the
wondered
bite
if I
place.
could ask for your help.
Wow, you look like you need a drink.
Yes. I apologize for my outfit. It's been a long night.
Been there, seen that. Don't worry, things can only get worse.
Okay, let's do this. Oh, come on, man. I'm trying to eat here while doing this.
Has anybody entered the bar recently?
Can't say. Sorry. I spent the night making love to that gorgeous bottle, see?
This is important, sir. Are you sure no one has come in here in the last few hours?
I don't know and I don't care. This is a free country. People still have the right to come and go, don't they?
What's going on around here? It's like everybody is hiding.
You must be new here. Have you not heard about the murders? Everybody fears the return of the sewer dog.
Who is this sewer dog?
It's the local bogeyman. Convenient answer for every crime that happened for decades. You murdered someone, blame the sewer dog, eh?
You make it sound like it's a fairy tale.
People will always believe in monsters. It's easier than accepting their own darkness. We can all be monsters.
I'll leave you to your bottle then.
Well, that man's not helpful. He obviously has problems of his
I hope I
own.
live long enough to see them wet boot boys get what's coming to them. Hello, sir. Are you all right? Is there any way I can help you?
I don't know. Maybe you could just talk to me.
Maybe you prefer to speak with Tom then. He's more agreeable talking to strangers.
What is this place?
This is
You're
Tom's
just getting
bar.
to know the characters,
Turquoise
get
Tail.
familiarised. And
I'm the
so
bar
then,
lady,
through the
Sabrina,
game,
if you want to know.
you probably go and do like missions where you can help them out, find out more about them, or find about what their situation, or try and get more dialogue out of them, sort of thing. But you kind of get the game, the idea of it.
Are you always open this late at night?
No, it's only since the epidemic started. Tom thought that people may need a safe place to stay.
You don't seem to have much business. Where is everybody?
Well, most people are sleeping right now. And those that are awake tend to avoid going out. What with the murders and all.
What's going on around here? Where is everyone?
Too many dead, sir. First the epidemic, and now all these terrible murders.
What have you heard about the epidemic?
There's a Spanish flu. Yeah. Killed so many last summer. Thought we'd seen the last of it. Dozens dying every week.
Are the authorities doing anything?
Nothing. There are so many quarantine zones in London now. It's gotten really hard to travel across town.
The murders. What can you say about them?
Bodies found in the streets every morning. Drained of blood. It's just horrible. Some say the sewer dog is back.
The sewer dog? What's that?
No one knows. People have always disappeared around these parts. The ancients say it's the sewer dog coming out to feed. But now he's killing in the streets.
Myth and legend, so they seem to think it's got sewer dog. Well, like some dude or something. The way this is happening.
I just want to talk. I didn't mean to scare you.
I'm not afraid, sir. It's just I've other customers to take care of.
I only see one customer.
Oh. Well, yeah, of course. I mean, I best check on them.
I'll leave then. Thank you.
What a way to divide the question
I
that
think
way.
drink no longer stirs me.
Now, as you can see out here, this is the port of the docks. This is in London.
Enough to see them wet boot boys get what's coming to them.
Can we have a look at the map here? This is the map. This is London. This is where you'll be based playing through all this. Huge southwest. So we're at the docks here, red icon. Now we've got to talk to this. So now we've got to find out who it is.
Freeway has several patrols roaming the area,
They do not pursue me.
but they're looking for vampires, and they're most efficient.
They'll not relent until the killer has been identified.
I have a common objective, but I require...
I think someone is eavesdropping.
Are you certain? You might as well come in, whoever you are. Slowly, vampire. Who are you?
I mean you no harm.
Saith the vampire. Present yourself.
I need a word. With anyone.
So this is the holy cross he's used because they're immune to the holy, stakes. Oh no, silver bullets and all that kind of. No, not silver bullets. You know, sticks and all that. You know, the holy
that's something I
water,
can do
stuff
for you.
like fire. So this is a doctor. Very well dressed, so it looks like he's a professional in science. Maybe he is the same as him. Let's begin to find out more.
And who might you be?
I'm not sure that I know anymore.
Might I at least learn the reason of your presence?
That's none of your concern.
Sir, you have entered my room in the middle of the night, pale as a corpse and shaking like a tree. So please, indulge me.
Someone is molesting people. In fact, killing them. Biting them.
The calling card of a vampire. Like you.
Seems like an expert. This is not real. I'm a victim too. Seems like an expert.
You seem the expert. How would that be?
I have my secrets, as you have yours.
Then if you are not a vampire, who or what are you?
Dr. Edgar Swansea of the Brotherhood of St. Paul. I'm performing an independent investigation here in an attempt to understand precisely what is going on.
What have you uncovered concerning the murders?
It started a few nights ago. Rumors of violent murders. The docks have always been, shall we say, somewhat unsavory. But this is different.
How different?
A vampire is at work here. Famished. Reckless. It must be brought to ground, and quickly.
I heard another voice, that of a woman. Who were you talking to?
Ridiculous. I've no idea what you're talking about.
Something tells me not to trust you.
Then the feeling is mutual.
And what exactly is this Brotherhood?
Sir, if the name is not familiar to you, then we shall discuss it another time.
Then help me find the culprit.
I may. If you'll first tell me why you opened this door.
I followed a trail. The scent of blood from a recent victim. It led me here.
You thought I was your aggressor. That explains a great deal. We're both chasing the same shadow.
A shadow, indeed. Yet I heard his voice in my head. There was a moment I believed I was mad.
You should let me handle this affair. You've no idea what you're up against.
No. I will find the monster. He is mine.
How will you do any better than I? But then let me ask you this. What are your intentions if you find the killer?
Demand answers, ain't they?
I will at last have the answers to my questions.
Then I can only wish you good hunting. And pray we shall meet again.
I hope I live long enough to see those little boys get what's coming.
Yeah, I think we've... You see the heartbeats.
It's locked, all right.
See your sense you can see things.
If Swansea is not my attacker, it means somebody else came here tonight. Someone must know something.
That's true. Very true. Wait. Sign down.
Welcome back. Did you find what you were after?
I can't say I have. Are you sure no one else came into your bar before I arrived?
Hey, I told you, you were the only other stranger I've had.
I think you're hiding something from me.
I hide many things from many people, sir. That's what my job's about.
Goodbye, Mr. Watts.
Yeah, he is saying something. It's not this man.
Hello, sir. May I disturb you again?
You're still ugly as sin.
I'll leave you to your bottle then.
Evening, sir. Can I help you?
I have a few questions for you.
Well, if you must.
I spoke to Dr. Swansea. He's not the man I'm looking for. Now, I want the truth.
The truth? What do you mean?
I suspect that someone else was here tonight, and I don't think Tom wants to tell me about it.
I'm just the barmaid here, okay? If Tom says you're the only visitor we had, then you're the only visitor we had.
I can feel your fear, madam. Please, tell me what's going on.
It's Will. William Bishop. He came in here earlier tonight and he... Well, I thought he was going to clock someone.
Why are you so afraid?
I mean, his skin. His hands. I scrubbed every glass and every chair that he touched. God, I hope it's not contagious.
What happened tonight?
He was dead drunk, as usual. But my God, his eyes. His face. He must have caught something awful. He shouted and cried. It was terrible.
Tell me about this William Bishop.
Will was a sailor who worked at the cannon factory before he lost that job. A nice bloke, really. He's never been violent. Until tonight.
Why keep it a secret? Why not tell me about it?
Tom's nothing if not loyal. After Will lost his job, he offered him one ear. They used to be good mates. But recently, well... Will started to get very aggressive.
I see. Thank you for your candor. I'll be sure to talk to Tom.
Well, so now you know his secrets, why he's been hidden. So Tom and Wilson used to be good friends. So we got that off. Oh, so all we need to do is just get that bit off.
You again. What can I do for you?
So this is a vampire poster that reveals information how to discover Blue Pope.
Tom, talk to me about the visit from your old friend, William.
Yes, Will came by tonight, but he's not my friend anymore.
Who is he?
William. Just an old sailor who loves his gin too much. He worked for years at the canning factory before it closed.
Is he dangerous?
Yeah. Like many drunks, he's all bark and no bite. He can barely stand up most of the time.
How was he tonight? Was he different?
Sicker than usual, perhaps. He whined and mumbled about how mean people were to him and how he'd like to talk to me outside, and then he left when I refused.
Why lie to me if he is not your friend?
I didn't lie. I said you were my only unannounced customer, and that's the truth.
I need to find him. It's a matter of urgency. Do you know where he is?
You could try his boat. It's up by the North Pier. He sleeps there when he's too drunk to get home.
Please describe him to me.
What'd you expect? He's a tall, sick bastard with a bad rash and torn old clothes. William used to be strong. Now he's a mess.
Thank you, Tom.
If you see him, tell him I don't want him back here unless he cleans up his act, okay?
There is a possibility, I'll say it now to you so if anyone's questioning it, that possibly the man that is friend could be the murderer.
I will get to the bottom of this intrigue.
Or it
What's
could
been
be-
done to me, to this city.
Yeah, he wants to do everything, wants to find out everything. As it's,
The body is
Oh.
still warm. This man has just been drained of blood. This man was armed. He tried to defend himself. What's this? Some sort of note.
Here's a note. 13th of October from J. McCallum. The docks patrols. Subject to multiple deaths in the docks of Adrian. We believe that a nasty leech is involved, a local beast plague it and quickly. Warning, according to the recent reports, the vampire is very violent and imposed extreme caution. I know we are lack of men, but in part of this time, don't be sending rookies to investigate the case. I'm correct, we will need to festival one killing each night. Always search for abandoned places. First look in old houses, basements, sewers, warehouses. Destroy leeches' burrows. Ah, okay.
These men, they're a company of professional vampire hunters.
So hold on, professional vampires. So they're the guys you seen right at the start that kill vampires, but they're called the Brotherhood. Ah.
This corpse has been dried of its blood, just like the previous.
So they go after monsters and all that kind of. So me, for instance.
Blood and empty gin bottles. This bishop fellow is something of a heavy drinker.
Ah, I forgot his name. Move on.
There are blood splats on the other side of the canal. I must reach that barge.
Alright, hold on. What's is it Jonathan? I think his name is. Ah, yeah, Jonathan Reed. That's the character's name. Before you remember, Jonathan Reed. Good name. Silent behind the enemies. Which I assume you go silent for the black
Ammunition crate. Good. I may need a lot of bullets. I feel like I'm back on the front line again.
Shut that foolish mouth of yours. Never known McCullum to be wrong about anything.
Right. No time I can remember. But I've only been part of the guard 3 weeks to the day. All the more reason.
Best run along home, sir.
These guys. Ho 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 ho. Smart. Let's see if he can handle this. Oh, I love a challenge. That'd be good for multiple enemies, that special ability.
It's locked.
As good as this myself. So this is what you can see in their enemies. So you can see all their types of resistance, range, power, blood, shadow. Depends on the weaknesses. But their level is so low, you can dominate these guys.
Steady, boys, we've got one of them.
Look, they can't even see me because I'm invisible.
Crush the leech, boys.
Once I get out of it, they can see me. I use their toys against them.
That's this nest of them cleaned out.
Stay away. Clever fucking beasts.
Claw attack, you use your hands as a claw. Oh yeah. That. So now you can have a shotgun. So you can switch between... Wait, what? Wait, can I? Yeah. So you can, if you go here, use that, or you can use that, right? So you can pick between, once you have them all, you can switch between abilities, like switch it. You have 4 abilities. You could have this, you could have claws, or you got blood barrel, creates a visual zord damage until fades and destroys. That's like a wee. Or you can have a concentrated control target's blood stronger. The control, yeah, you could have that one. Switch between, or you can have your ultimate powers. You could have abyss, blood on. Go with abyss. Shall we try it?
There's one of them vermin! Murdering bastard! He's dead!
There's the shield.
Bloody leech! Fuck his fast!
Alright. Rats are off their locate hideouts, sends to locate them so they can gather blood and all that. Okay.
I cannot enter.
Don't really do that. Because, oh, practice a new tactical. New practices and new tactics. We know that some of the companions consider the best advantage we have our fights against the leeches is that they can't go out during the day, so they can't hunt them down when they're hiding powerlessly in their sleep. This is a rookie mistake. First, because vampires are clever and there are countless runes and tricks to avoid being spotted in them. Second, because they deploy many deadly traps to kill an intrusion. This is what considered as the most piercing sanctuary. It would cost too much of my men and too much time to explore the errant vampires in their hideouts. Best tactic is to follow and destroy them when they're really visible. When you hunt at night, it's much easier to attack them, for they are easier to be spotted. That's why the Guardian Supreme must involve and deploy new tactics to hunt leeches. Small mobile patrols, tactics based on technology advantage. They will learn many things from the war in France, new strategies, new equipment and new weapons. Grenades, while Bomber involves light bulletproof vests, flamethrowers. It's time for the Guardian to embrace the 12th century for a new war of McCallum Premium Gernov McCallum Premium Leader. So the Premium Leader runs the vampire, rookies run these guys. Interested to meet him at some point. But it's gonna be a whooping ass. Fast. Oh. Alright, we've already went there. First you can upgrade weapons by your level. You don't even need to do that because your abilities are helping you. Everything as a vampire yourself is over the limit.
fresh blood. The whole building reeks of it. The scent is so strong it makes me dizzy.
Look at that. Unknown. Someone's down.
We shall overcome this.
Right. Switch between them. Oh, wait, hold on.
I must have more.
This place reeks of bloodshed.
I promise. You are my dearest friend. You're my last and dearest friend.
This creature is bedeviled. I must put it down.
William Bishop. Williamson Bishop.
Let me go.
Alright.
William was an honorable man. I could have saved him.
Mr. Hampton, are you in there?
We knew him well, another lost soul, a kindred spirit.
Sir, listen to the sound of my voice. I'm a doctor. You're suffering from shock.
I must return to my flock. They'll stray without me.
Remember, certain scowls are every bit as resistant as...
What do you mean by scowl?
You truly are a newborn. I should have realized.
Wait. You are the woman from the bar. Are you... like me? Can you help me?
I believe, sir, I already have.
Well.
By George and the Saints, you've solved the mystery of these terrible murders. Patience, good fellows, I've come to offer help. Just give me a moment to secure my boat. We can leave this awful place.
William was not the evil man they claimed. He was just taken by the thirst. He needed his drink.
This man requires medical attention. We'll see he gets to the nearest hospital.
No, please, I must tend to my fold. My flock needs me.
There, sir. Go with the good Dr. Swansea. He's resourceful, and I'm sure he'll take good care of you.
You'd best come as well. The sun is soon to rise, and you'll need a place to rest.
I just need a moment. If I can learn something about what has happened to William, I'll be a step closer to understanding what happened to me.
This poor creature can't be my maker. Could it be some subspecies of vampire? I must find a place to analyze the blood.
So we need to analyse that blood somewhere in the works. Somewhere to rest.
Where are we headed?
We're on our way to the Pembroke Hospital. It's just across the canal. They'll have a bed for poor Mr. Hampton.
William was... what manner of creature was he?
Predator, prey, villain, and victim. Who can say? The important thing is that he's been stopped.
Duly noted. And the woman? What... who is she?
What woman?
Oh, don't play me for a fool. You used me to locate that Scowl. You must know who she is.
And I thought you a gentleman. You shouldn't talk about a lady behind her back, but I will tell you she values her privacy. Were London as peaceful as she appears from the middle of the canal? If only that were the reality of the situation.
To be honest, I've always tried to avoid this part of town.
Pembroke Hospital is the last bastion between the rest of London and the epidemic. The flu has decimated the East End and the war still rages. Welcome to the front lines of a plague.
This is where you work, Dr. Swansea?
I am the administrator of Pembroke Hospital.
I thought you were here in service of your mysterious order, the Brotherhood of...
Of St. Paul's Stole, yes. But first and foremost, I'm a man of science. A physician, like yourself, Dr. Reed.
How do you know who I am?
No need for modesty. You are Dr. Jonathan Reed, a surgeon of some caliber and renown, if I'm not mistaken.
You are correct, sir.
I knew it. I had my suspicions. But when you took the blood sample from the corpse of poor William, I was certain. Dr. Reed. Marvelous.
Have we met?
I attended 3 of your seminars before the war. I have the utmost admiration for your research. And what a turn of fate. England's most esteemed blood specialist returns to London a vampire.
That word, again, from a so-called man of science.
I understand. Traditionally, the role of science is to refute myth, but when myth walks among us, the Brotherhood of St. Paul has dedicated its purpose to their study. There's so much for you to learn.
Of that, you are right.
Well, then let me be blunt. Join my staff at Pembroke Hospital. As a physician. I suspect you'll not find a better post of employment to contemplate your predicament.
This is sudden. I was returning home to see my sickly mother. But alas, that was before contracting this... affliction.
Dr. Reed, take a moment to consider. The post would be for the night shift, providing a good explanation for your absence during daylight hours. You'll be adequately reimbursed, and have a place to hide. I even had the forethought to bring some clean clothes. So, what do you say?
It seems I have little choice, but yours is a generous offer, so I thank you.
Brilliant! Oh, Jonathan, this is one for the book, and the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Dr. Swansea, thank goodness. I was beginning to be concerned.
Worry no more, Nurse Crane, for I bring good news.
Oh, Doctor, what a night. We lost 2 more patients. Nurse Scowl said she couldn't take it anymore and resigned.
Yes, well, I'll make a new rota in the morning. In the meantime, find a good bed for Mr. Hampton. Be sure to pay attention to his needs.
Of course, Doctor.
Oh, and Dorothy?
Yes, Doctor?
Dr. Reed here has just returned from the front. He served King and Country and will be joining us here at Pembroke. We're very lucky to have gained a surgeon of his talent, and one so experienced in blood transfusions.
That is good news indeed, Doctor.
Oh, yes. Here at Pembroke, it's not what we have, but what we haven't. It's only thanks to Nurse Crane and the staff that our ship doesn't sink. If you have any questions, just ask her.
Duly noted. Thank you.
Your assistance is required, Dr. Swansea, immediately.
Welcome aboard, Jonathan. We'll catch up after my rounds. I'm coming, Nurse Crane. I'm coming. I'm sorry, Jonathan. Mr. Hampton needs me right now.
Come on, you bastard! You can do better than that. Nah, it's my turn.
Rotten or pristine, each heart contains the seed of life. Drink at this river, try it all.
Oh, come on, you bastard! I won't bite.
Sir, please. You've lost too much blood. Calm yourself.
You think I didn't notice? Stop your staring and get me to an hospital, you arse!
Insulting a good Samaritan. Not exactly the way to get rescued.
All right, sorry. I am in pain here. Me guts are spilling out onto the street and you're yabbering on.
Yes. That's a very nasty wound you've got there. Take my word, I am a doctor. Dr. Jonathan Reed.
Name's Clay Cox. I'd appreciate you helping me to a better place, Doc.
Follow me, Mr. Cox. Let me assist you to that better place.
This is what you can hit them. Tell them to do exactly what you're saying.
Bring this fading light into the shadows. Dance with him the dance of life and death.
So you can embrace or you can release. If you embrace Claire, you maximum XP boost, but away to the consequences, allowing most of them collecting their hints. No. Let's just release them.
No more. Not tonight. Not like this. I will not take another life.
It is wise for the huntsman to sometimes let his prey go. But no famished hunter can run for long.
Good evening, nurse. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed, the new surgeon here at the Pembroke.
Dr. Swansea has already told us about you, sir. I'm Nurse Gwyneth Brannigan. Welcome to the Pembroke Hospital.
Did he really? It's a good thing I wasn't hoping to keep a low profile.
All members of staff have already read about your new blood transfusion technique. Dr. Swansea made sure of that.
I see. Well, I'm a little surprised, but I suppose I'll just have to deal with this unexpected notoriety.
You must know, blood transfusions are Dr. Swansea's primary subject of research. He is convinced it is the future.
How are things here?
Not good, to say the least. We're struggling against an invisible enemy, more lethal than any bullet from a gun. It's hard, Doctor.
An invisible enemy? Quite a poetic term for a disease, especially from a nurse.
Sorry, Doctor. These last few weeks have been exhausting. We could all do with a good night's sleep.
Do you think this hospital can survive the epidemic?
We are all volunteers here, and we're trying to hold fast, but how do we beat an invisible killer? Some nurses have already resigned.
Can you blame them?
I'm not familiar with all the staff yet. Perhaps you could help me.
Brilliant professionals, most of them. Dr. Swansea has a gift for recruiting talent.
Most of them? Is there a problem I should know about, nurse?
It would be inappropriate for me to speak ill of a colleague.
Is there anyone that stands out?
Well, I have never met someone as dedicated as Dr. Tippets. He should be a standard for us all here. If only he were younger.
Why should his age be a problem?
I guess it's fair to say he's always pushing himself to the limits. He just doesn't know when to stop and get some rest.
Oh, yeah.
Nurse Brannigan, if you do know something, please tell me. Anything you say will be held in confidence.
No. I may disagree with some conduct, but in the end, everybody is doing their best.
Goodbye, nurse. Call me if you need assistance.
Surely I can endure another night.
Good evening, sir.
So it is true. The famous Dr. Reed has joined us. I can't think of any better news during these terrible times.
Do we know each other?
Actually, yes. We met once before, at the Rockefeller University in New York.
Dr. Tippett, yes, I remember. I was assisting Professor Carell in his research about coronary bypasses. He had nothing but praise for you.
He was also very confident about your future. And look at you now. Eminent surgeon and blood transfusion specialist.
What is the Pembroke Hospital situation? And please, speak freely.
This hospital is not exactly the best of London. I'm sure you are used to working in a better environment.
It's more than enough. In any case, the personnel of a hospital are much more important to me than the building.
Don't be misled by appearances, Dr. Reed. This hospital does not lack talented people. It just lacks hope.
What can you tell me about the staff in the hospital?
Some are really good, and others are not so good. But during this troubled period, there is no time for slander. I prefer to focus on the positive character traits.
Tell me more about cherished people, then.
Nurse Brannigan is a pearl. She is the most helpful and dedicated nurse I've ever worked with. A clever and cheerful woman.
You really seem to admire her skills.
I'll go even further. If she was a man, she would be a damn fine practitioner.
Any opinion about the management?
I don't always agree with Dr. Swansea's reserve, but I must admit he does all he can to keep this facility running during this crisis.
Ah, yes, the burden of command. I was fed up with this concept while serving as a medical officer.
Don't get me wrong. Swansea's a good administrator. I just wish he would get out of his office now and again.
You're exhausting yourself, Corcoran. Maybe you should think about preserving your strength.
No. We must keep on healing all those poor souls. We are the last rampart before chaos. Once more unto the breach.
Nurse Brannigan is worried about you, Doctor.
She should not have told you that. I will have a word with her.
You don't have to blame her for her honesty.
I'm not that kind of man, my dear Jonathan. Actually, Nurse Brannigan's opinion is the only one I may listen to.
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett.
Dr. Swansea asked me to collect you, Dr. Reed. Hurry up. Doctor, where have you been? I've little time to play hide and seek with new staff members, no matter how illustrious they may be.
I found a wounded man by the docks. He answers to the name of Clay Cox. He requires urgent medical attention.
Already making the rounds? That's the Pembroke spirit. I'll ask our porter, Milton, to bring him back immediately.
Thank you, nurse. What can I do for you?
Dr. Swansea insisted we provide you a quiet office. You'll find it on the second floor with your name on the door.
Thank you. Nurse Crane, isn't it?
Yes, Dorothy Crane. Welcome to Pembroke Hospital, Dr. Reed. Your office has been prepared.
I would like to ask a few questions first. What kind of man is Dr. Swansea?
Well, you accepted the job from him. I thought you would have known about your employer.
It's right to assume Dr. Swansea knows far more about me than I do about him.
You'll get to know him soon enough, and better than me. The administrator has better things to do than mix with us.
Apologies, I've only just met him the once. This is sudden. I've only just returned to England.
Dr. Swansea is a brilliant surgeon and the most compassionate physician.
And Mr. Hampton, the patient we brought in, how does he fare?
I gave him a sedative to help him sleep. Poor thing was in quite a state of shock.
If you could point me in the direction of my room again, nurse.
Second floor of the hospital, left after the stairs. It's the last vacant office at the end of the corridor.
Thank you, Nurse Crane.
The offer from that Cadogan fellow.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. I'm new here.
I've already heard about you, Dr. Reed. I'm Milton Hooks, the ambulance driver for this shithole of a hospital.
That's quite a blunt introduction, Mr. Hooks.
You can call me Milton. I like to speak my mind, Dr. Reed. Perk of the job. Don't judge me, and I won't judge you.
I'm not sure I understand what you're talking about.
Well, I'm no doctor, but I'm pretty sure a gun can't be used as a surgical instrument.
You have a keen eye. I learned to shoot during the war, and have carried one ever since. Old habits die hard.
No need to explain, Dr. Reed. And if you ever need a better gun, remember, I may have something for you.
How is the situation around here?
You want to hear the situation is all right? It's fucking awful. We lack everything, and it's getting worse every day.
So what do you do exactly in this hospital? Apart from smuggling guns, I mean.
I've been an ambulance driver since... too long, I guess. I bring sick people here night and day. It's a dirty job, but I get it done. Most of the time.
It sounds like things have been a bit rough recently. What's happened?
Yesterday I got attacked by the patient I was bringing here. I escaped through the hospital's garden, but I lost my wallet when I was running.
You left an infected patient outside the hospital? That's incredibly dangerous.
Go there yourself if you want, but be careful, Doctor. I'd rather not bring your dead body back.
Since you're on the front line, how is the sanitary situation in this vicinity?
It's a complete disaster. It's even getting dangerous to enter some streets or buildings. Even the locals attack you.
Are you really smuggling weapons through the hospital?
And why not? I've already been attacked by patients, you know. And by gang members willing to steal my money.
But you're not defending yourself. You're selling guns to civilians.
You keep people alive your own way, Doctor. I offer them another way to protect their health.
I'd like to see your goods.
Wise choice, Dr. Reed. A reliable gun is what everybody needs these days.
Ravi slave cutscene in here.
How can I be sure I'll not find your unconscious body in the house again?
I promise you, you'll not find my unconscious body.
For God's sake, how can you say such a thing?
How can you refuse to listen? I tried to warn you for so long.
No, I won't let my only son die. You promised me you'll stay alive.
Your son lied to you, like the whole world lies to us.
That's not good.
Dr. Swansea is right. This place seems perfect to conduct my research. Scowl voices in the garden. I should investigate. If they were to find somebody.
Damn it! Why is this so difficult every time? That is better. That is better. I will make it through one more night.
Photograph of Smile, loving cup, a few words were written back. This picture. I'll give them that.
It's locked. It's locked, all right.
There's one of them vermin!
What? Oh, that worked. No, it didn't.
It's locked, all right.
It's a long way up. Hello, so how are things big city? Things are not so good. It seems like the flu is here again. How many cases are affected nearby? Do you remember Mr. Shells and the odd drinking? The flood flushed passed away 2 days ago, and her flat's already corrupt again. You have to pay me a huge amount of money to go and sleep in the bed, but someone died. Time to quickly answer this. Power and damage all flat to really find the time to write my favourites.
It's locked, all right.
Think about quitting Pembroke Hospital. That's good information. Really good information.
It's locked. It's locked.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed. Always a pleasure to meet a colleague, sir. Especially when he was supposedly dead.
A colleague? Are you a doctor too?
Not anymore, sir. I used to be Dr. Rakesh Chadana. Now, I'm just Mr. Chadana, pawnbroker and humble guardian of this morgue.
What do you mean, you used to be a doctor? Was your license revoked?
No, sir. It is just that I like to be precise. I run a little pawn shop while taking care of the dead. But I used to be a real doctor.
Are you afraid or uneasy being surrounded by so many corpses?
Why should I? These bodies are empty vessels. Flesh left to decay. Poof. No soul anymore. All gone.
An interesting point of view. And quite an exotic one, too. Most people fear, or at least have a respect, for dead flesh.
Sir, as a medic during the war, I learned to face my death and the death of others. It's the pain we have to tame, not death itself.
Very good point. Raki's not faded since he served as a medic, so he served in the war.
How did you get this job?
After I left the army, I worked as an undertaker down by the docks. A dangerous place with many an unpleasant business there. Milton Hooks helped me get a job here.
Do you work here alone?
Yes, very easy work, sir. All I have to do is watch a few bodies. The situation was very different when the main morgue was still open.
Why do you have to watch these bodies?
Because these poor fellows have no names. We keep them in case someone comes looking for the missing. Sadly, very rarely happens.
Why close the hospital's main morgue?
It was for sanitary reasons after the beginning of the epidemic. Cadavers had to be moved to the nearest mass grave.
Have we met before?
I don't think so, sir. Why?
When we first talked, you said you were glad to meet me since I was reported dead.
Funny story, sir. Your sister came here a few nights ago. You were missing, and she was looking for your body. She must be very relieved now.
A pawnbroker? I expect you get all types of people here.
Yes, sir. All kind of people. For I sell all kind of goods.
Who comes here to trade with you? It's very unhygienic, even unsafe. Diseases can spread. For the customers, for the hospital.
I'm very cautious, sir. I've been a doctor, remember? And all my clients are good people. In fact, I think I only know good people.
What kind of goods?
With the quarantine, it's not always easy to buy things. So I trade, I exchange. Some people sell, some others buy. I like to help.
Since you're not afraid of dying, do you believe in life after death, Rakesh?
No. I believe we must do all the good we can while alive. For our time is short, and the obstacles are endless.
Do you think you would enjoy immortality as a concept?
I don't think so. Don't mistake me. I love life, and I'd like to live a long life. But everything has to decay, sir. Even goodwill.
So you're ready to die?
No, I am not. I don't fear death, for I won't see it. What troubles me is the pain my death will inflict to those I know.
You're a wise man, Mr. Chidama.
No, Dr. Reed. I am a foolish man. But I like to think otherwise.
Do you really believe goodwill cannot last?
As I said, sir, everything decays. If I was to never die, goodness, I would be bored or worse. And I like to be helpful, sir.
Quite depressing, wouldn't you say?
Yes, but the good news is we'll all die before losing our humanity, sir.
Goodbye, Mr.
You don't mind if I search your pockets, do you, sir? You won't need any of these anyway. I'm not stealing from you, mister. I'm only redistributing your belongings to people who need them more than you. You see, no one has claimed your body, sir, so it would be such a shame to bury you with your valuables. I will not forget you, sir. And I thank you for your generous donation.
Good question about that.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. Such a pleasure to see you again.
How dare you steal from the dead, Rakesh? Is that what your pawnbrokers is really about?
These people are dead, sir. What they possessed could be useful for the living. And I'm sure they would agree if they could speak.
Rakio's not afraid of death since he serves as a medic. Makes sense. Rakio steals from the dead. He is responsible for...
Whatever your motives, you're making money by stealing from the dead. Dr. Swansea should be informed.
No offense, sir, but Dr. Swansea is one of my customers. As I told you, I like to help people. And everybody needs help from time to time.
Since you're not... No. Do you think you would...
I don't think so.
Goodbye, Mr. Chidama.
More bodies.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I believe we're going to be colleagues.
Reed? Yes, I've been informed about your arrival. I'm Waverly Ackroyd. Welcome aboard, I suppose.
Does my arrival inconvenience you in some way, Dr. Ackroyd?
Let us just say that I don't particularly share Dr. Swansea's enthusiasm for hiring you. What we need here are reliable professionals, not overrated dabblers.
If you have a problem with me, Dr. Ackroyd, please feel free to tell me.
Dr. Swansea has imposed your presence on this hospital without asking anyone's advice. The benefit of his position. But I don't agree with it.
I know we've never met before, but I believe this hospital could use all the help it can get. You will agree with that, I'm sure.
Oh, but I have heard about you, Dr. Reed. Of course you can't say the same about me, since I have not wasted my time courting the press.
There is no need for such animosity between us. Don't you think the epidemic is already enough to deal with?
That is one point we could agree on. And that is precisely why I want to be sure that you will be of help to this hospital, instead of a burden.
Since your tenure in this hospital is longer than mine, perhaps you can tell me more about this place.
Let's just say I'm tired of the carelessness around me. I have always respected the skills of Dr. Swansea, but over time his enthusiasm has become displaced.
Carelessness? Exactly what are you talking about?
We're here to save lives. The people who trust us are not volunteering for experimentation. They're here to be healed.
I don't intend to run any radical experiments, Doctor. Even if I, as any good practitioner should, express an interest in pushing the boundaries of medical research.
Modern medical methods were created through audacity and ego. But there are rules in our line of work, and they're here to protect our patients.
Disappears in modern medicine methods. Okay.
I don't know what you've heard about me, but I have already proved my value as a practitioner.
I don't question your skills, Dr. Reed, but your motive. Is it money, fame, or are you truly dedicated?
And what exactly is that supposed to mean?
I served in the war just like you. But unlike you, I did not use the wounded to play the modern sorcerer.
Be careful what you insinuate, Dr. Ackroyd.
I only want you to admit you used those men to improve your theories.
I don't see any reason why I should justify my actions to you.
That's true, Dr. Reed. The only judge has to be yourself. The question is, are you judging yourself hard enough?
It seems you have bad memories of your military service.
I refuse to see this industrial slaughter as scientific progress. War only reveals the worst in men.
We can at least agree on something, Dr. Ackroyd. Thank you for your time. We'll talk later.
That was a brutal one, that was, wasn't it?
My sweet girl.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. May I help you?
I don't know if a third opinion is needed. Your colleagues are already arguing about my condition.
I see. Would you mind telling me more about your situation?
I'm Harvey Fiddick. All I want is to get me bloody arm fixed properly.
Are you satisfied with your treatment here?
Well, it's clear that I've chosen a bad time to be injured. Forgive my bluntness, but you seem overwhelmed by cases of the flu.
I won't lie to you about it. I'm afraid we are.
Are you sure you don't want to operate yourself, Dr. Reed? I have the feeling you're very capable. And your colleagues seem to think so too.
In other circumstances, you would be right. But for now, I don't think I can take on the responsibility. My apologies.
Damn it, would have been nice to see him in action.
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Fiddick.
I'm just a regular guy waiting to get his arm fixed, so I can return to work and to my family.
I was more curious about what you were doing before being hospitalized.
I'm a carpenter, and a good one too. But that means I need both arms to feed my family, Dr. Reed.
Tell me about the doctors who are arguing about your case.
Strickland and Ackroyd. They both want the best for me, but there's a lot of pride there. Doctors are no different from carpenters, it seems.
What do you mean?
I often had professional arguments with rivals on a building site. Difference is, I disagreed about wood and nails, not flesh and bones.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
My sweet girl.
But in the circumstance, I'm pretty sure we're making a difference, Stout.
I'm never going to keep anything from you. Don't waste your time with me.
I'm quite busy right now, Doctor.
Thank you for your... Good evening, Doctor. I believe we're going to be working together.
Dr. Reed. Dr. Swansea informed us of your arrival, but I could not dare to believe we'd have such good fortune. Such an honor, sir.
Thank you. And you are?
I am Thoreau Strickland, Dr. Thoreau Strickland. I'm a great admirer of your work, Dr. Reed.
Please, could you tell me something about yourself?
I'm a great admirer of your work concerning blood transfusion, Dr. Reed. I run my own experiments. I'm convinced it's the future.
What made you choose to be a doctor?
I'm not ashamed to admit you and your work have inspired me. I am honored to have the opportunity to work by your side.
It's always a pleasure to share scientific and medical knowledge with someone eager to learn. I'll be glad to help you if I can.
This epidemic may be the century's most terrible disaster, but I'm convinced that we, as doctors, are the only ones able to defeat it.
I based my technique on my mentor's research. He helped me perfect my method. What is yours?
I'd rather not talk about it. For now, it's just theories and first approach. My process is purely experimental and unsuccessful.
As long as you're cautious and methodical, you may remain empty-handed, but... you won't fail.
You're not the first one to warn me. But I am convinced knowledge is the main weapon against the ravages of this epidemic.
What do you think of Dr. Ackroyd's aversion to modern medical methods?
It's a shame he's so narrow-minded. Dr. Swansea taught me that science is about exploring uncharted territory. I'm convinced that's true.
With the influenza and all that's going on, you should put your differences aside, don't you think? Why is it so difficult to work together?
I believe that if Dr. Ackroyd had been the one to discover the transfusion process, he would be the first to recommend its use.
So you believe it's just a question of jealousy?
Dr. Ackroyd is as proud as he is blinded by his obsolete concept of medical science.
What can you tell me about the Pembroke?
Well, it has always been an honor to work with Dr. Swansea. But with your arrival, I can't think of a better opportunity to learn about blood transfusion.
You seem quite optimistic. It's a rare and precious attitude in these difficult times.
I'm convinced that this epidemic is a test of endurance and dedication for us men of science.
Questions remain about our capacity to resolve the situation.
True, true. Last summer, during the first wave of the epidemic, I used to joke with Milton about the extra work. We're not smiling now.
Do you need help with anything in particular?
Well, yes, maybe. I'm waiting for a batch of products I ordered for my personal research, yet my supplier seems to have vanished.
Do you want me to play the errand boy for you?
Oh no, Dr. Reed. But if you went personally to his shop, what with your reputation and all, he wouldn't dare to refuse the products I need.
I see. Well, give me the address, for I may pass by if I have time. Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
I'm quite busy.
Tell me, Waverley, what do you think of Dr. Strickland's enthusiasm for his experimental research?
Strickland is playing with his patients' lives for pride and glory. Now that, sir, is unethical.
Are you thinking about something in particular?
Harvey Fiddick needs delicate surgery. I believe we should stick to the usual procedure, but my young colleague obviously disagrees.
Why do you wish to lead this surgery?
I strongly believe that Mr. Fiddick should not be butchered to test an unproven procedure.
Other people may say that's too conservative a point of view.
Conservative? And what are you going to say to Mr. Fiddick if he loses his arm because of the operation? Because that's what's going to happen if the surgery is a failure.
Tell me, Wade.
Strickland...
Are you thinking...
Harvey...
And are you not afraid that your rivalry with Strickland may be blinding you?
Rivalry? I guess you could call it that. But I will never be childish enough to let my personal feelings affect my judgment.
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later. Good evening.
Good evening.
Goodbye for now, Mr.
I've not let you down, my boy.
Good evening, madam. Can I help you?
It's my son who needs you, sir.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. How can I help your son?
I'm Beatrice Goswick, mother of Mortimer Goswick. Could you check on him, please, Dr. Reed? I've heard much of your talents as a physician.
What can you tell me about yourself, Mrs. Goswick?
Not much to say. Just take care of my Mortimer and I'll cover all the expenses. That's all that matters.
May I ask if you have an occupation, Mrs. Goswick?
I'm a teacher by profession. I teach young women who are more ambitious about their futures than their families.
Are you really that rich? Most of the patients here are of a more humble origin, if I may say so.
Yes, thanks to my husband. May he rest in peace. I can cover any needed medical expenses.
What do you think of your reception here? Any complaints?
I have had the uttermost reservations about this hospital since we arrived. But we had no other choice, considering the state of emergency.
Is there something in particular that's bothered you?
Some of the staff were not especially welcoming. I suspect they're not accustomed to dealing with patients of such social standing.
Tell me more about your arrival at the Pembroke Hospital. What gave you such a bad first impression?
The ambulance driver was quite rude, for a start. And that nurse, Miss Hawkins, seems to have quite a dubious attitude.
What do you mean?
She managed to secure a bed for my son despite the epidemic. It was a relief, but it wasn't cheap.
I share your concern, Mrs. Goswick. Be sure that I'll talk to the people involved.
I don't expect compensation, Dr. Reed. But I'm aware such behavior would not be tolerated in other hospitals.
She charged you for a bed?
Yes, and I paid without question, considering the urgency of the situation.
Your son wished to die, Beatrice. Why did you hide such crucial information?
Are you not aware suicide is a crime? Mortimer could be thrown in jail. I can't let that happen. I won't.
I understand you fear the legal consequences, Mrs. Goswick. But don't you realize your silence significantly affects your son's case?
All my son needs is help and comprehension. Not judgment and punishment for what he may or may not have done.
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick.
I'm all right.
As for me.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed. Can I help at all?
No.
Really? Why?
I don't want to talk.
I suppose that this pain is the...
Yes.
Could you at least tell me your...
Mortimer.
How painful is your throat, Mr. Goswick?
So painful I'd rather not talk at all, Doctor.
I'm sure you realize a doctor and his patient have to communicate, sir. Would it help if I gave you some paper and a pen?
Not really.
I see. Then maybe it's not just your throat that hurts, Mr. Goswick. Perhaps your sore throat is just the consequence of something more hurtful.
Yes, maybe. But I don't want to talk or even write about it now.
How painful is your throat, Mr. Goswick?
So painful I'd rather...
I'll let you get some rest.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
I'm okay.
Why did your mother have you hospitalized here? She seems convinced this is a bad hospital.
My mother just wants the best for me. She won't rest while I'm here. She'd go all the way to hell and back to help me.
Is your mother bothering you? As your doctor, I can ask her to leave you alone if you would prefer.
That's tempting, Doctor. But you have no idea what my mother is capable of. She would tie herself to my bed if you asked her to leave.
Pembroke Hospital may look unorthodox, but rest assured, you're in good hands here.
It's not me you have to convince, Dr. Reed. It's my mother.
Admit it, Mortimer. Your mother had you hospitalized here because you tried to kill yourself.
Yes, it's true.
All right, then. This is the first time we've really shared information about your case. Shall we call this progress?
Call it what you want, Dr. Reed.
Can I help you in any way, Mr. Goswick?
I wrote a letter for my mother. She was supposed to read it after my death. But I suppose she doesn't have to read it now.
I see. And is this letter still near the place where you tried to take your own life?
Yes. And I don't want anyone reading my last words. I mean, I'm still here. If you bring me back that letter, then perhaps we'll talk.
Tell me about yourself.
Don't waste your time with me.
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to...
Tell me why you're extorting money from some of the patients here.
If a patient wants a bed, he'll have to pay me a little fee. That's all.
Where did you get the idea for such an immoral scam?
Funny you should ask. The first time it was from a patient who bribed me to get a bed. It's only then I realized I could make a fortune.
I have some good news, Milton.
What? The epidemic's over?
I retrieved your wallet, with all the money, and a certain picture.
Well, yeah, Pippa Hawkins is my girl. So what? Is it the difference of skin colour that bothers you?
Not at all, Milton.
Good. Please, take this money anyway. To remind you to keep your mouth shut. Not everybody is as broad-minded as you, Dr. Reed.
What's going on between you and Nurse Hawkins?
Pippa's tired. Tired of all this shit. Tired of all those corpses piling up. She's as depressed as I am.
During the war, I witnessed a few couples just like you come together in difficult circumstances. It can be very damaging.
Maybe you're right. But we support each other. And that's all that matters.
You do realize you could both get fired. Hospital staff are not meant to have intimate relationships with one another.
Come on, Dr. Reed. Do you know how many rules are broken in this hospital every day just to keep it running? There's nothing wrong with what we're doing.
Admit it. Nurse Hawkins is more than your lover. She's also your partner in crime.
Of course she is. How else could I tell which bed is free? I need to know that.
Have you no shame?
Don't you see the city is crumbling down? Today people are ready to pay to get a hospital bed. Tomorrow we may be fighting for food.
Goodbye, Milton. Good evening, Nurse.
Good evening, Doctor.
Tell me, Nurse, did you know Dr. Tippett was addicted to medication?
I suspected this behavior for some time, but never dared to ask him about it. Until the day he confessed to me.
Do you approve of his addiction?
Of course I don't approve. But I understand he needs it to fight the exhaustion. Let's hope he'll stop injecting himself once the epidemic is over.
And what if he doesn't?
Then we'll have to convince him to stop. I believe he's still in control of his addiction, for now, but we must remain vigilant.
Why would he confess to you about his addiction, Nurse Brannigan?
Don't you know you doctors can't hide anything from a nurse? We're always there, even if you don't notice us.
Do you consider yourselves our confessors, Nurse Brannigan?
I wouldn't dare, Dr. Reed, but I'm intrigued. How did you discover Dr. Tippett's secret?
What can I say? I seem to have a knack for discovering secrets.
And for hiding them as well.
Why does Dr. Tippett claim you're the main reason he keeps working, despite his fatigue?
If it wasn't for him, I probably would have left the Pembroke years ago.
Dr. Tippett does not think of you as just a nurse anymore, does he?
If you're suggesting he's not taking my gender into consideration when it comes to medical practice and knowledge, I really hope he doesn't.
Goodbye, nurse. Call me if you need assistance. Good evening, Dr. Tippett.
Dr. Reed, any good news to share?
I know you're taking drugs, Corcoran. Why take such a risk?
I need it to endure the long shifts. We have no idea how long the epidemic will last. We can't let it win.
I understand the gesture, Doctor. An immediate answer to an emergency situation. But this can't be a long-term solution.
Thank you for your understanding, my dear colleague. And be assured, I have total control of my consumption.
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett. Good evening, nurse.
Good evening, Doctor. I don't think we've been introduced yet. My name is Pippa Hawkins.
And I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. Dr. Swansea has recently offered me a position in this hospital.
Well, it's a euphemism that your help will be appreciated, Doctor.
Pepper, I know you're very close to Milton Hooks.
Yes? Milton Hooks is my man. If you want to report me for that, just feel free, Doctor.
I have no intention of reporting you, Nurse Hawkins. But are you aware of the risks?
The rules say I won't be allowed to work as a nurse anymore. But here at the Pembroke, we break rules all the time.
Is he worth the risk?
Hey, I'm no perfect woman, and Milton is not the finest bloke. But we do our best to get by. That's all any of us can hope for nowadays.
How would you describe the situation at the Pembroke? Nurse Hawkins, the Spanish flu won't last forever. Even the Black Plague didn't kill everyone.
I wish I could believe you. But what if this epidemic was worse? What if in the end, nobody was spared?
How would you describe... You...
Sorry.
How long? You'd be surprised what dedication can achieve, Nurse Hawkins. In medicine, sometimes we're just a test result away from a miracle.
Sorry, Doctor. I don't want to sound bitter, but I'm just too tired to give a pep talk like Nurse Brannigan.
How is the pep...
Not well.
Why do... What?
Milton?
Pepper, are you sure you want to leave this hospital?
To become a nurse was a little girl's dream. But in the end, I don't feel that useful. I want more. I want to make things change.
You should be proud of what you've achieved. This hospital represents hope for many people in need of help.
Maybe you're right. But at the moment, I feel like we're just a cemetery waiting room.
What steps are you prepared to take to feel more useful?
I don't know yet. My sister believes that the real fight is in the streets nowadays. Maybe she's right. Maybe this is what I must do.
And what about Milton Hooks? Does he share your point of view?
For Milton, any change means more comfort and more peace. I disagree.
If you feel that saving lives is not useful enough, perhaps it means that you've lost faith.
On the contrary, my faith has never been stronger. Maybe we are all just too proud to face up to the fact that science cannot compete with God.
Milton cheats patients out of their money at this hospital, Pippa. Are you his accomplice?
Yes, I am.
Is this your definition of being useful? By abusing the sick and poor?
No. It is my definition of getting out of this useless life once and for all.
Why do you do it?
Why not? Most of the sick who paid for a bed are already dead, or will be soon. Don't you see the futility of all this?
You put a price on hope. This goes against everything you swore to uphold as a nurse.
Report me then, Dr. Reed. Report the little nurse and keep on lying about the surgical errors, the wrong dosages and diagnostics that we all covered for the sake of our colleagues.
Whose idea was it?
What difference does it make? We did it together, and I'm guilty as charged.
Answer my question.
It was my idea first, even though Milton would say it was his, to protect me.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins. Good evening, sir. Can I help? I'm you. How can I? Who? No, you don't. Can do it.
Scout's part.
Where are no, you? Good. I cannot enter. Good evening, Mr. Hampton. How do you talk? What do you mean?
I was not myself in the factory. Fear and exhaustion made me say awful things to you, I'm afraid.
You remained perfectly nice and polite. A little delirious, perhaps. But who wouldn't be after enduring an abduction?
Thank you, Doctor. That's a relief. Now all I need to do is rest and return to my flock.
How did you end up in William Bishop?
I had...
What with... You...
Tom?
People are still in despair.
Help.
Who should I avoid in this part?
Not. What is this?
Who leads in... As that? What do you...
I'm... Not...
What?
That's...
Have you...
Not
you... How... You're at... Goodbye.
The pain. There again.
Yes.
Good evening.
What are you begging for, mortal? My clemency? Well, tonight maybe I'm inclined to mercy. You'll never forget the night you met Thelma Howcroft.
You keep calling me mortal. Why is that? And if I'm mortal, what are you?
Well, Dr. Reed, if you must know, I'm a vampire.
And why do you believe you're a vampire?
I don't need to believe anything. It is what I am. It is what I feel within this hollow shell of flesh.
Please, describe to me how you feel. What is it like to be a vampire?
I can hear my body crumble from the inside as my flesh cracks and fades. I sense the last pulse of postulant blood within my drying veins. I need new blood.
I see. Have you ever heard of Cotard syndrome, Miss Howcroft?
Never.
It's a mental illness discovered by a French neurologist named Jules Cotard. The affected patients are delusional. They believe that they are putrefying, that they are dead, a ghost or a ghoul, or in your case, a vampire.
Delusional, you say? Oh, sad and petty mortal. You can't even begin to understand the concept of immortality. And you think it is I who am delusional.
I'm assuming you must be a patient.
It's only a couple.
Who are these?
Thank you.
Who are you?
No.
I'll leave.
On every street car.
Good evening. How close aren't she? So do you let her bite you?
And it... You know...
Good.
Fear and disgust on every daily routine.
Tell me, Thelma, why do you feel so attached to Mr. Elwood? Why him?
I'm not sure, Doctor. I think we have a bond of some sort. We've both suffered so much. He's the only mortal I find interesting.
Would you say you and Mr. Elwood are romantically involved?
No. No, Thomas is a delicate soul. Even though he disguises it. But I am not the woman he needs. No, for I am a vampire, Doctor.
Do you plan to make him a vampire too?
Of course not. How could I... I wish I could be sick again. Feel my blood boil with the fever.
I wonder why the Gospels came here in the first place.
Not now.
It's locked, all right. This must be the place. It's definitely away from prying eyes. Relegated to the shadows. A kingdom of my own. At least I won't be sleeping in a coffin. The flower's dying. It needs water.
And how do they get water?
William Bishop's blood is much more unstable than human blood and shows extensive mutation. But this is not what happened to me. I must keep on searching. The sun is about to rise.
I started in the security office on the second floor. Please grab me the technical powerhouse is up there. It's inside, like.
I can feel it.
I'll continue tomorrow night. I have so much time now.
Yeah, you do have so much time.
If I'm to stay here until my research is complete, I'd better learn to hide my true nature from the mortals. But what about my thirst for blood? The flower's dying. It needs water. Yes, Nurse Crane? How can I help you?
I'm so sorry. I know Dr. Swansea wanted you to rest, but we have somewhat of a crisis.
A crisis, you say?
Our supply of antiseptics is nearly depleted. I was hoping there was another box up here, but...
What type of hospital are you running? No antiseptics?
You have been away too long, Doctor. With the war and now this epidemic, supplies have been running scarce for months now.
I may have a solution. In France, during the war, drugs shortage was a daily problem, and we had to use our wits to overcome the shortages.
However do you mean?
If combined correctly, certain household chemical products can be used in a pinch instead. Now, where's the hospital storeroom?
The storeroom? Fat chance. This is the Pembroke, and space is luxury we don't have. Everything used to be stored in the old morgue.
Perhaps I should look there first. Where is this morgue?
It's the large building behind the hospital. You'll need to go in the back door because it's been sealed off for sanitary reasons. Take this key. It opens a small back entrance at the end of a narrow street.
The abandoned morgue behind the hospital. A small door at the end of a narrow street. On my way then. Thank you, nurse. It's locked, all right.
Ugh. Right.
I cannot enter. balls of Mars. Fortifiers. As popular as they are ineffective. But they do contain iron tartrate, and that might prove itself useful.
It's locked, all right.
This key will surely grant me access to the basement. These skulls feed from corpses and the husks of animals. They're not our food.
Mr. Connor's injuries don't match the report. I'd better look into this. These skulls can be so ferocious. I'm not sure I can defeat them without becoming stronger. To drink blood is so tempting.
Sodium hypochlorite. Dangerous to administer, but efficient in the proper dosage.
Let's hit the favourite hospital here. Shit, man. Wait. Oh yeah, guys do these jobs. Yeah.
Please, sir. I need help bad.
What's going on?
I'm Blight, sir. Newton Blight.
I'm Oswald. How long? Don't.
What? I'm on. What? It's not.
This.
We were. What? You were.
I have.
Thank.
I cannot enter. Good evening, Mr. Cox.
Dr. Reed. Still working at night, I see. I like that.
And why is that?
People who don't sleep at night always seem more alive to me. More interesting, one way or another.
Do you ever think about that? What did he want?
Oh.
Perhaps you're right. Maybe only the strongest will survive in these dark times.
If there must be only one, in the end, make no mistake, I'll be the winner.
That man was determined.
What?
How is your
This...
What?
That... No.
What? But you...
What?
How is your hospital?
This is just...
How long do you think you can escape the law, Clay?
I know this city like the back of my hand, Doc.
Justice will find you. You must be. If you have to die soon, then. Hold on, wait a minute. Claire has one of the barrel of a man who tried to kill him, so.
We can't escape the consequences of our actions. The past catches up with us in the end.
I ain't afraid of death. I don't hide who I am. I live my life honestly, which is more than I could say for most folks.
And who are you, then?
I'm the leader of the Wet Boot Boys. One day, I'll leave this shitty place and punch in the face all who thought I would not come back.
That's not exactly a good experience. That gives you about.
I'll leave.
After that. Wait, hold on. I mean. Yeah. Let's see.
That leads to Mars!
No. That's a good god up here, of course, these vampires. So someone's going after her. I don't know. At least I don't know. What you need to do is change your power, change your abyss, shadow, spring, claw,
Oh, Christ!
This must be Clay Cox's knife. A fine blade. No wonder he wants it back. Opium is one of the main ingredients of Strickland's medication. Never a good move. In this letter, Mortimer Goswick does nothing to hide his desire to die. I could give it to his mother, but doing so would betray his trust.
Yeah.
It's locked, all right.
Fire belly beast. Vampires are created to find prodigy with the blood. We all know that some of the witnesses progress even what they really are going on there. This is only the way that vampires are breeding. Let's review what we know so far. When willing to create a what's it called? Is it called? Oh, I forgot the name of it. Something like that's in my head. The create a prodigy. What's that program? No. Create a prodigy. Prodigy, a vampire will not bitten but gives the blood to drink. Most of the victims die when bitten. Some of them survive and turn into leeches. Yeah, leeches, yeah, themselves. This is the way it happens when you have absorbed a vampire's blood. One way or another, it's not the precious bite, but it's the blood that infects the victim, who will turn if he or she survives the suffering or of the mental forms. It also seems like a vampire has been have incurse of vampire meat and produce shares. Encounters between vampires and humans really produce buff. Okay. It's just information, more information about them. Alright.
I said stay away, sir!
This is despicable.
At least you get them. I want to get rid of. Yeah. Yeah, let's take that.
You are going to reveal all your secrets.
Good evening. Tell me, Thelma, what do you really know about vampires?
I saw one and he saw me. I watched him hunt and kill. I saw his terrible wounds heal as his victim died. And then I knew I was saved.
You mean you actually saw a vampire? Here in London?
Yes. And it has been the answer to my pain. I must drink and kill to regenerate my decaying body. I am a vampire too.
You are no vampire. You are a delusional woman, convinced she is something she is not.
How convenient to call delusional anyone who does not share your precious rationale, Dr. Reed.
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities.
Good evening.
Why do you feel responsible for the injury, Thomas? Tell me what really happened then.
I went with a whore in Rouen. Dead drunk I was. Did know.
What? Reconstructive surgery has been very successful for some soldiers.
I don't want to wear a bloody mask for the rest of my life. I'd rather stay here and just be forgotten.
Oh. Well.
Goodbye. It's locked.
Yeah.
Good evening, Doctor. And good... Tell me more about your willingness to experiment with new medical techniques.
Harvey Fiddick is a patient suffering from a severe injury that could cripple him if not treated correctly. I'm convinced your blood transfusion technique could help him.
What is it you really want? To save him? Or to prove your point?
Fair question. I want nothing but to save my patient, Dr. Reed. Especially since I know Mr. Fiddick's story.
Tell me Mr. Fiddick's story.
Our first diagnosis was compromised because Mr. Fiddick lied to us about the real origin of his injury. He first claimed it was an accident.
But why would he hide such crucial information from us?
Because he is a proud father, ashamed of putting his children at risk because of his own negligence.
This personal involvement could also appear to be a lack of impartiality. You must know that a good surgeon must remain neutral.
I agree. But that does not excuse Dr. Aykroyd's behavior. A man who did not even take time to converse with his patient.
Do you think keeping his distance was a mistake?
All I know is that I'm taking care of human beings with desires, hopes, and fears. Not some biological machine comprised of blood, bones, and flesh.
I located the shop, but it was
I was afraid of such bad news.
That's quite a list.
This dreadful influenza.
Do you realize you could create a lethal poison without the correct dosage? Then there are the legal ramifications.
Is this not true of any medical substance, Dr. Reed? However, if you would agree to improve it...
As long as you promise to be scrupulous with...
That's all I'm asking for.
I want to know about these secret tests you run, and if they can save people from this epidemic. Speak to me now, Thoreau.
I know I may sound presumptuous, but I'm just following your steps, Dr. Reed. I'm casting away the shadows of ignorance by daring to face them.
Self-confidence is essential in our line of work, my young colleague, but only if tempered with the correct amount of cynicism.
But you never doubt yourself, Dr. Reed. I've read all your articles and books. You performed the most daring research during the war.
You have my support, Dr. Strickland. I know exactly what it feels like to battle an unknown disease, with only your mind and force of will to help you.
Thank you, Dr. Reed. You don't know what that means to me.
Goodbye, Doctor. I can't let Strickland put his patients at risk with opium. Perhaps an adjusted formula will deliver more... Good evening.
Good evening.
Tell me about you.
My wife died.
How could your... Oh, you can't... Tell me more. What happened?
The German...
I'm sorry.
I would...
How are you? Goodbye for now.
flower's dying. It needs water.
It's locked, all right.
Hey!
I have found...
In that...
I hope that...
Who knows?
I'll leave you.
I know it.
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor.
Do you know that Nurse Hawkins is thinking of leaving the hospital?
That's not a surprise.
Does it not?
Sometimes.
Why do you have such a mediocre reputation?
Fuck them.
I know, it's...
I've seen...
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'd like...
Wise choice, Doctor.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good.
Time has lost its effect on me.
But the suffering continues.
Not now!
It's locked.
This is it. Okay.
It's locked, all right.
Finally, you've returned, Doctor. Did you find anything of value?
Yes, nurse.
You've worked your first miracle, Doctor. Now, this patient here needs immediate treatment.
Duty calls. When the storm has passed, I'll show you how to mix the remedy yourself with the same basic ingredients.
Many thanks, Doctor. When you've finished, you ought to report to Dr. Swansea in his office. He's been looking for you. Seemed pressing.
Good evening, Miss.
I'm okay. So...
Admit it, Mortimer. Your mother had you hospitalized here because you tried to kill yourself.
Yes.
All right. You can't... I've read your letter, Mortimer. You wrote about an unbearable feat.
There's nothing more to...
The world is bleak, but maybe the pain we feel is the best compass for making it a better place.
How can we repair the world, Dr. Reed, when mankind is the biggest problem? Yes, the world will be a much better place when we're gone.
I have retrieved...
Thank you.
I think you should talk to your mother.
Thank you.
Do you need any help?
I'm afraid I'm...
You are not a burden, sir. Healing you is my responsibility.
And you have my gratitude.
I have to...
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
Good evening.
Mortimer is a...
As...
Why did you...
I...
What? I have read your son's...
He threatened to kill him.
Punish.
I've no...
You realize... You're right.
I can't...
Goodbye. Good evening.
Good evening.
Goodbye.
As for me, what a bloody...
Do you think Dr. Strickland has any chance?
Strickland?
Please, Jonathan, come in. Fascinating, is it not? In the last decade, so many mysteries have been brought to light with our microscopes. The human body, biology's penultimate frontier. The more we explore its boundaries, the less we're able to trace a clear line between life and death. You, my friend, have a foot in both countries. The view must be vertiginous.
It's at least as vertiginous as chatting about vampires with you, I would say.
This must be all so new to you. This area of town, the hospital, a brand new life. How stimulating it must be.
I wish I could share your enthusiasm, Dr. Swansea. But my condition defies scientific categorization. Undead? Unalive? Immortality defies logic.
I cannot express my thrill at this serendipitous turn of events. The world's most eminent specialist in blood transfusions, a vampire. One might say a gift from heaven.
What's going on here? So you're on 96% healthy, man. I did screw up one part. Oh wait, I need to treat him. I need to treat him. Yeah, that one, but that should affect as long as I keep him healthy. It's fucked. Everything else is good.
There is an absurd poetry to my situation. Physician, heal thyself.
Forgive me. I've been an admirer of your work for a long time, and now you are so much more than a brilliant physician. And please, call me Edgar.
I'm not some doe-eyed student, Edgar. I understand we both have something to gain from this relationship.
Very well. I have a task for you, Jonathan. Something that will require all your newfound skills.
Please, go on.
The Pembroke only survives through the generosity of our benefactors. Unfortunately, our main donor has found herself in a bit of a bind. Now, if you could help her out...
A spokesman or politician is what you need. That's not my calling. And until I come to understand what has happened to me, I require discretion.
Discretion is in order, Jonathan. Lady Ashbury has recently received rather indelicate correspondence that, if revealed, would jeopardize her position.
And you would like me to eradicate this threat?
By the stole, of course not. I would just like you to pay her a visit. Her ladyship is certainly near the tents outside, tending the sick. You can't miss her. Look for someone impossibly delicate.
Accepted. I'll see what kind of trouble Lady Ashbury is in.
Warning letter. Dispatched.
Good evening. Tell me the truth about your appointment as a medic.
The regiment administration appointed me by mistake. I had to learn the job on the spot, sir. Very hard, sir, but I rose to the challenge.
You can't impersonate a doctor. You can't improvise a medical education. People could die at your hands.
You're absolutely right, sir. But as a field surgeon, it was more like being a butcher.
Do you believe you have really helped these people?
My ratings were within the averages of the regiment. I saved lives, Dr. Reed. Does that not say enough about triage and war surgery?
Do you realize how many soldiers died because of that decision? You should have refused.
Yes, sir. I swear I did, sir. But no one listened. When the first wounded arrived, I had to do what I could.
It is an unbelievable story, Mr. Chidana.
It was a time beyond belief, Dr. Reed. But I'm happy not to deal with the wounded. I prefer caring for the dead now.
Have you heard of someone blackmail?
Pardon me, sir. but I have no idea what you're talking about.
Goodbye.
I think it's about 100%, so... You're on the right track.
Good evening.
Good evening.
It's locked, all right. Have you heard of any...
Blackmail?
You're lucky to be a...
This place...
Consider yourself lucky.
Don't play the imp.
You're lucky to be alive.
Course.
You're lucky.
Course.
I'll...
That gives you about... %. So half the information we've not been told.
Have you heard?
I have no...
Good.
The flu took my dear wife, Emily. I take comfort knowing we'll soon be together again.
Mr. Rainfield, that's no way to talk. You're in good hands here, and we'll be up again soon enough. Now do me a kindness and get some sleep. I'll be back round later.
Your words are kind, the blessings of an angel. You're the sweet, sweet Lady of Mercy.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. It's a pleasure to see you again. You seem surprised. Dr. Swansea has brought me up to speed concerning your recent appointment to Pembroke Hospital.
You're a vamp... The lady who saved me that night, before vanishing into thin air. I remember you from the pub with Dr. Swansea.
Indeed. Allow me to introduce myself formally this time. My name is Lady Ashbury. I remember you well, in spite of the brevity of our encounter.
So it seems our Dr. Swansea does indeed have a fascination for creatures of our constitution.
Dr. Swansea is a remarkable man. Dedicated, one might say, obstinate? He spent years compiling our bestiary.
I hope you're more disposed to answer my questions now.
You must have countless questions, but our rather urgent matter first. Swansea has explained. My cover, if you prefer, has been compromised.
Pardon my boldness, your ladyship, but I have questions concerning this condition we share.
As a newborn, your hunger for answers is rivaled only by your thirst for blood. But the questions need wait.
I'm a scientist. My trade is in the deciphering of mysteries, and I need information to feed my mind.
I will gladly answer every question you have, but first, prove yourself capable of resolving my predicament without eating the culprit.
Have any of the patients given you trouble?
These poor souls have so little left to live for. I do my best to ease their pain.
The world would be a better place if it were cared for by women like you.
You make me blush. I am simply a necessary evil.
Dr. Swansea has commissioned me to be your agent in this matter. You could start by explaining what's amiss.
These past insufferable weeks, I've been the victim of extortion. I've made a first payment, but the blackmailer grows greedy. I must refuse his most recent demands.
Who would be so foolish as to threaten you? A kindred spirit?
Even if it were the case, and I highly doubt it, a vampire would have asked for something more valuable than money. My suspicions lean toward a patient, or their family.
What are your expectations? Please be precise.
As the newly appointed surgeon of this hospital, you are in an excellent position to ask innocent questions, and deftly learn the identity of my blackmailer.
If we're dealing with an ordinary criminal, surely you've the means to deal with it yourself, if I may.
As immortal tradition doth dictate, all fangs and hypnotic eyes ablaze, the blood would run like a river. That's what I hope to avoid. Violence has a tendency to spiral out of control.
Please continue. Every detail is essential. I'm your man.
My embarrassment in this matter is eclipsed only by my shame at having put the hospital at risk. The threat from our anonymous scoundrel is clear. A list of dates. My visits coinciding with the dates of suspicious patient deaths due to massive blood loss.
Is it true?
Now aren't you the blunt one?
You are aware that I too know the thirst for the scarlet nectar.
In all honesty, I'm not simply a patron to the hospital. My visits serve a dual purpose. Dr. Swansea has been treating my condition with a revolutionary technique of blood transfusion. It seems you are a specialist in the domain.
I'll take care of it. Do you know where I should start?
If that was the case, I'd settle the matter myself. You could talk to our local gossip, Harriet Jones. Not a pin drops here without her hearing about it.
I'll meet that woman now.
My life, as others know, is in your hands, Dr. Reed. I'm sure of your discretion, but I do fear your powers of persuasion will be put to the test. When this is resolved, I'll be your obligé. I'll answer all questions in regards of your condition.
What? What is this? Who are you? Get out of my room.
There's no need for alarm, madam. I'm Dr.
Preposterous. Dr. Reed, you say? I don't want some bumbling intern. Where's Dr. Swansea?
If you continue shouting, I'll have you restrained and gagged. Understood?
How brave. Threatening an old defenseless woman. You know how long I've been a patient here. You've picked the wrong fight. I'm Harriet Jones.
Harriet Jones? Indeed. I've been meaning to have a chat with you. You know what goes on here better than any other patient, I gather.
Oh, better than any patient, nurse or doctor. I've seen so many vile undertakings.
I heard there have been some despicable goings-on. Was there a case of blackmail?
Blackmail? Wait. You're investigating something. This isn't a social call. One of those incompetent cunts slit a poor sod's vein.
You seem to know more about the goings-on here.
That's it. Blame...
If I didn't...
God.
Really...
This is your...
Thank you for your... The patients and staff might know something. I'll start my investigation with them.
Good evening.
What can you tell me about the strange man visiting?
Let me guess.
No matter how...
Who says I don't? That...
What can...
Let me...
Goodbye, nurse.
The patients are not fools. They know we are overwhelmed.
Have you found...
Not...
All right.
I have...
Don't worry, we're safe.
Good. Do you know... Good.
Stop.
Good.
Good. There are... What? I'm not in the...
Good.
Don't worry, we're safe.
What's that do? This isn't even my neighborhood.
You're sure you don't come back with me?
Nah, I have to see someone at the hospital.
Be careful. You look so bad they may keep you as a patient.
Fuck 'em. I don't like hospitals or doctors.
Well then, when you go back to Whitechapel, you may find this useful.
What is it?
A pass for a free medical exam by the best nurse available. Just read it.
I don't read well, but thank you, I guess.
This man has been savagely attacked and dragged to the floor. What sort of creature is this? Here's what... Some voucher for a free checkup in Whitechapel. What is Nurse Crane up to? I really must find her. Are you injured, sir?
Help!
I'm Mr. Yes. Good.
I'm going to sign off there, guys. Appreciate that. Thanks for coming. Please do subscribe, like and subscribe. I'm going to sign off. Good night. Take care.